I agree and confidently predict that General Motors will end the partnership with Nikola that it announced last week. Nikola's stock will collapse and Milton will end up behind bars for security fraud. Whew. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nikola saga / Netflix drama that nobody asked for, but apparently everybody wanted. So the guy who wrote this is called Whitney Wilson. He's a former hedge fund manager, and he runs this Empire Financial Research newsletter now. He's not somebody super well known, but based on his experience running a hedge fund and also being a contributor on multiple news shows, he has some credibility and experience. He's the first one to say what we're all thinking, that Milton will end up behind bars for securities fraud. And he said this on Tuesday, but as of today, where do we stand? It's not looking good for Trevor Milton. There are 3 lawsuits now pending against their company, mainly for fraud and deceptive, misleading behavior. So today I'm going to go over all of them, but mainly I'm going to dig into one of them by the Rosen Law Firm. It's a top-ranked law firm that has won class action lawsuits against Alibaba for $250 million and even Fiat Chrysler for over $100 million. But before we dig into the legalese of this, which I'm just going to be reading to you, let's go through the other 2 lawsuits that are also happening simultaneously. Cascella Law LLC announces that a shareholder class action lawsuit has been filed against Nikola Corporation on behalf of investors who purchased shares of Nikola's stock between March 3rd and September 15th, 2020. So if you bought shares in between then, you could be one of these investors with a claim. Investors who purchased Nikola's securities during the class period and suffered an investment loss in excess of $100,000 are encouraged to contact Cascella Law LLC for additional information about this action and to discuss their legal rights and options. As detailed on the complaint on September 10th, Hindenberg Research published a report describing, among other things, the company claims to design key components in-house, but they appear to simply be buying or licensing from third parties. The company has not produced hydrogen. A spokesperson for PowerCell AB, a hydrogen fuel cell technology company that former partnered with Nikola, called Nikola's battery and hydrogen fuel cell, claims hot air. Nikola staged a test video for Nikola 2. Some of Nikola's team, including defendant Milton, are not experts and do not have relevant experience, and Nikola did not have 5 trade trucks completed. So, man, Hindenburg really hurt Milton. And these are all of the accusations that were gone over in the paper. Nikola's refutation of them was basically non-existent. They kind of just admitted to a lot of the things, accused investors or Hindenburg of misunderstanding what they're saying. You can watch my previous videos and analyses on this subject matter. You know, anytime that a company is accused of something like that and you can't just give a straight answer, you have to directly call your lawyers, which is what they did. They called Kirkland and Ellis to produce a very carefully written response, which was essentially a non-response. That was almost the worst thing they could have done, just because they couldn't directly either show a truck working, just show a truck running. That's it. That could have quelled a majority of the rumors, but they couldn't. So getting lawyers was their best option, but it was also their worst option. Let's move on to the next lawsuit. Nikola investor sues after short seller claims sink shares. A Nikola Corp investor sued the electric vehicle maker, its chairman, and 2 executives over an 11% share price drop that followed a September 10th short sellers report. Hindenburg strikes again. Arab Salam seeks to represent all other shareholders that bought Nikola stock from June 4th to September 9th, according to a complaint filed Wednesday in Brooklyn Federal Court. He accused the company and the executives of making false and misleading statements about Nikola's operations. So now from the other side, we see a pattern. Everyone is seeing the same thing, that Nikola was lying. They made false and misleading statements. I'm surprised that it even took this long for lawsuits to start happening. Yada yada, it's because of Hindenberg Research. The report also alleges that Nikola staged misleading videos and told dozens of lies about its capabilities, partnerships, or products. Bloomberg reported Monday the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is looking into the allegations of fraud Hindenburg made against Nikola. The Department of Justice has also been making inquiries on the matter, the Financial Times reported Tuesday, citing people familiar with the conversations whom the newspaper didn't name. A Nikola spokesman declined to comment on the lawsuit. I've been feeling like a crazy person, but I'm glad that people with experience in the law also see that these are misleading, and not just misleading, these are lies. These are straight up lies about its capabilities, partnerships, and products, among other uses. Finally, let's read this Rosen class action lawsuit. And I'm saving this for last because they seem to have the most experience taking down some very, very big companies. And I'm not saying they took these big companies down, but more like they won their cases. So in the Alibaba case, they were concealing a regulatory warning about its ability to stop counterfeited materials from being sold on their site. And they won the case. So it's not that they took Alibaba down, but at least they won money back for the people they represented in the class action lawsuit. Again, it was $250 million. And for the Fiat Chrysler case, they were hiding an issue in their cars that caused them to consume high amounts of oil and shut down unexpectedly. And they won over $100 million for the people that participated in the class action lawsuit. But yeah, let's read through this. Rosen Law Firm, a global investor rights law firm, announces it has filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of purchasers of securities of Nikola Corporation and Vecto IQ Acquisition Group between March 3rd, 2020 and September 15th, 2020, inclusive the class period. The lawsuit seeks to recover damages for Nikola investors under the federal securities law. So Vecto IQ Acquisition Group is the SPAC company that Nikola used to go public. Now, I'm not going to go into SPACs now because I don't really understand all the details of them, but from a layman's terms, they are just kind of the shell companies that other companies use to go public now, because it's a lot simpler than doing an IPO. There's a lot more due diligence and time it takes to do a proper IPO. And if you can just merge with these SPAC acquisition companies, you get to just skip a lot of steps and a lot of headaches. And this might be part of why it's facing this issue, because when you do this kind of merger, you don't have to do all of the background checks, all of the due diligence you have to do when you become public through a classic IPO. So to join the Nikola class action, so if you guys are invested in Nikola and you're angry, you can go to this site right here, and I will link it in the comment section below. And let's go straight to what the lawsuit says. Number one, Vecto IQ did not engage in proper due diligence regarding its merger with Nikola. Like I said, this probably got overlooked. Number two, Nikola overstated its in-house design, manufacturing, and testing capabilities. This is clear to me. I don't know how it's not clear to anyone else. Number three, Nikola overstated its hydrogen production capabilities. They have not produced hydrogen yet. They don't have any stations. Those are all lies. Number four, as a result, Nikola overstated its ability to lower the cost of hydrogen fuel. If you can't even produce it yet, how are you supposed to be lowering the costs? Nikola founder and executive chairman Trevor tweeted a misleading test video of the company's Nikola 2 truck. I mean, Nikola 2 seemed like a working truck, but Trevor just says absurd things, and they need to get rid of them if they want to have a chance of staying alive. Number six, the work experience and background of key Nikola employees, including Mr. Milton, has been overstated and obfuscated. Obfuscated.
Obfuscate.
And obfuscated. Yeah, Mr. Milton doesn't have the best track record when it comes to companies, and appointing his brother, who had experience in concrete, to be director of hydrogen is he's just not the best person for the job. Number seven, Nikola did not have 5 tray trucks completed. Trevor Milton said that they were rolling off the line right now, and that wasn't even close. They hadn't even built the line that would allow the tray trucks to come off of. Whoa, I'm losing my voice now. Number 8, as a result, defendants' public statements were materially false and or misleading at all relevant times. According to the suit, these true details were disclosed by a market research firm Hindenburg, go freaking Hindenburg. A class action lawsuit has already been filed. If you wish to serve as lead plaintiff, you must move the court no later than November 16th, 2020. I guess if you've lost a lot of money, go register. Maybe you can become the face of this. And that's it for the news portion of today. I appreciate you sticking around for so long. And now I'm going to give a summary of my personal thoughts on this debacle. It just never added up, but for some reason, people kept investing in it. And then this GM partnership also confused people because GM is a large, reputable company. Why would they partner with a company that seems to be a scam? And my take on that is that GM has not been doing well. They actually went bankrupt in 2009, and now they are struggling to stay relevant. This deal that they made with Nikola was basically a no-lose situation for them. GM did not have to pay anything to go in the partnership. Rather, it was more like Nikola came to them and asked them for help and just gave up 10% of their company, made a promise that they would buy all of the GM trucks and then resell them. If Nikola goes under, GM loses nothing. And this deal that the CEO and them made was calculated based on those financial incentives and risks. They had everything to gain by partnering with a hip, young, buzzy EV startup, and basically nothing to lose. Monetarily, they definitely have something to lose regarding their reputation. Once this falls through, I think their CEO is going to be in big trouble. It's just going to look really bad, but they can say they were missiled by Trevor just like a lot of us were. And I'm going to say us, even though I wasn't invested in it. You know, when you see a billion-dollar company like that and so many people supporting it, you think that there must be something legitimate behind it, but this isn't an isolated case. It's happened before in the case of Enron. I know this isn't exactly like Enron, but I'm just saying of another big company that a lot of people trusted that went down. This seems spiritually very, very similar to that. Even as of today, though, you can see that the stock price hasn't really been affected. It stayed pretty flat. It was affected initially when the reports started coming out, but I know people are still hanging on pretty tightly, and that's something I'm confused in. I also read an article that hedge fund managers are pumping money into this, so I think there is a way that you could seem to be making some money in the short term, as people either aren't caught up to the news or they are just trying to squeeze any life left out of this stock. My take on it is this is something you should stay away from. All of this information that me as a layman reading seems really bad, but now there are 3 lawsuits on top of that confirming what we see. Just be careful. This is why you should always do your own due diligence before investing in a company, because even GM's due diligence was not good enough, and they are a billion-dollar company. So you have an advantage. You have your own eyes, your own brain. Just be careful. The stock market is no joke, especially now when there's so much money pumping around in our economy because of the stimulus checks and the unemployment checks. I think these companies can stay alive artificially for a while. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I know I have a lot of new viewers, and I really appreciate your support. After this whole thing dies down, I just want to make more videos about companies that are worth investing in as opposed to bringing down a company. I will be making more videos on options trading, which is a great way of making consistent income every day, stocks to invest in, and how we can all achieve financial freedom so we never have to rely on a scam company like this or create a scam company like this. Don't do that either. This is Green Knight Trading, where Squires become knights. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Tell me everything, tell me everything, tell me everything. Gonna be